Welcome everybody to another edition of TEW 2020, as it's time for WCW Halloween Havoc 2003, live from the beautiful Twitter Center in Houston, Texas, as it's a really big show. We've got Vampiro Guerrero for the world title, RVD versus Kanyon, in a match, basically, can Kanyon finally get his big win over RVD, and have a real chance at another world title shot. Goldberg versus Mesias, the continuation of their bit-long feud. Booker Morningstar, last month Booker submitted Morningstar. In War Games, now he's going to get his final revenge. Air Raid versus Hart Legacy for the World Tag Titles. Ray Jr. finally getting that US title shot after Shane Helms. Chuck Palumbo taking on Ric Flair, and much, much more. So let's get rolling. So we start with our opening video, basically focusing on those matches, plus the Chuck Palumbo Ric Flair feud, and that gets a 77 to open things up. So the first match is our triangle match for the Cruiserweight title. It's Jeff Hardy versus Kaz versus Jamie Knoble, our champion. So let's get rolling with that. So that is an awesome match. Like, that's way better than I thought it was going to be. So about that, good heat and decent action from the crowd. Jamie Knoble defeated Kaz and Jeff Hardy in 10:59 when Jamie Knoble pinned Kaz illegally using the ropes for leverage. During the match, we also had Ebony Sable running an attack Jeff Hardy, and Jamie Knoble makes defense number 3 as WCW Cruiserweight title. This gets a 77, Kaz gets a 72, Hardy gets an 82, Knoble gets a 66. So what happens here is, your back and forth, typical, triangle match. Kaz gets a few kicks in. We even have a spot where near the end where Hardy misses some sort of like a side moonsault or a flippy move, and Kaz even locks in his Kaz mission, but Knoble breaks it up. But, near the end of the match, Noble's sort of out in the corner. Hardy hits the twist of fate. But we have our first rough bump as, Noble sort of, tired, sort of holds onto the ref as he checks on him. Sable comes in, choke slams Hardy, so then sort of throws him out of the ring, and then Noble gets up for just long enough to sort of roll up Kaz in some sort of sort of inside cradle type move and pick up 1, 2, 3 and pick up the victory and another successful title defense. And then, Ebony celebrate, which gets a 44 because he's not that over yet. But I'm getting there. He'll be getting there eventually. But, good solid win for Knoble as he continues his, redneck rebel cheating heel character as he continues, his decently Cruiserweight title run. So next up we have a match that's sort of set, Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes and Kanyon, sort of playing their old school characters, have been feuding with the Helms Legacy tag team of Reno and Cash for a while, the Silver City Rollers, along with, of course, Shane Helms' muscular backup with Gantes. But, in the last couple of weeks, Steiner has got involved suddenly, more out of, hatred of Gigantes, thinking he's some sort of, tough guy in WCW as opposed to, actual love. But, hey, that gives the reason the fans that cheer for him, and there we go. So, in their 6-man match, and both had decent action on the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Scott Steiner, Dustin Rhodes, and Kanyon drew with, Cash, Reno, Gigantes at 9:38 following a double countout. So, this is just a mess from the start. We have brawls, we have fights, Steiner suplexes, Cash probably takes it just an insane Billy suplex from Cash. Rhodes brawls with Reno. Gigantes goes for a chokeslam on Kanyon, but Steiner saves him. Eventually the match spills outside and, the referee throws it out. And this gets a 69. Nice overall. 69 is a perfect rating for a Scott Steiner match. So Kanyon gets a 58. This one gets a 67. Scott Steiner gets an 82, and there we go. That's the reason why I haven't gotten rid of him yet, because he's never had his huge I think it was a foot injury that really slowed him down in real life in real life WWF for his Matt feud versus Triple H. Then Gigantes 61, Reno hits the 57, and Cash gets a 58. And then after the match, of course, we get a brawl, but Gigantes manages to chokeslam Scott Steiner through a table, and that gets a 70. Next up is our AMW versus Jett in London match. So let's go to that. So a decent match, America Was Wanted, featured Jason Jett and Paul London in 11:36 when Chris Harris pinned Jason Jett with a catatonic. This gets a 63. Harris gets 69. Storm gets 71. London gets 71. Jett gets 65. This was hurt by the fact that I didn't attach a storyline to it because it was basically just a couple week program, and it gives AMW a big, a solid win over a, mid-card tag team. Jett and London can take the loss, and AMW get built back up after losing the tag titles. And this is your straight ahead, this is your typical early to mid 2000s tag match. Probably a long heat segment for Paul London. Jett makes a hot tag, but eventually the heels come back and get the big one. And then of course AMW celebrate to get a 69. So next up is sort of our first big thing. So it's, you know, first Awesome and Kidman come out, you know, though they're cocky heels. You know, of course, Awesome is turned on Lance Storm, and, you know, Kidman has teamed up with Awesome because Kidman's just a prick, and he realizes Awesome can be good muscle for him. April Hunter's out there with him, you know, and then out comes Storm and O'Hare together. You know, O'Hare, of course, has, you know, because of his past fights with Mike Awesome, he had a little feud with Kidman, so he's, you know, trying to, you know, help Storm out. So the two teams are facing off, and it looks like we're about, you know, start on the ring bell when out of nowhere, Lance Storm super kicks Sean O'Hare. Bam. So what happens is, of course, it says with an awesome bomb, but, you know, so Lance Storm kick Sean O'Hare out, you know, lays him out with a super kick. It says he pins Lance Storm here, but this is just a beatdown, and, you know, the ref just counts the pin to get the match over. The only reason I even have the match here is because I forgot that I pre-booked it, even though I had this whole angle set up from the start. Yeah, and if you notice, like, Lance Storm never actually turned face, so if you, like, sort of figured that out, that's sort of been sort of the setup here. But, yeah, basically, if you notice, like, Storm and Awesome have never really had a, like, a big match that has been, like, a wild brawl. It's all been, like, you know, miscommunications. And they had a couple matches where, but, you know, Awesome never sent Storm through a table. Storm never really attacked Awesome. It was mostly arguing. And they suckered Sean O'Hare in, and there you go. And Billy Kidman was here, you know, and helping up. So a big win, you know, well, not really a big win, but just, and obviously, like, I protected O'Hare the hell here because, you know, he's not really losing a match. So this gets a 65. I'm not going to go over the form physics because it's just a random, like, 2-minute match. But of course, in the post-match, which gets a 70, yeah, so Storm turns O'Hare, and just a huge beatdown, like, you know, Kidman hits a Kid Crusher after, you know, well, like, what happens basically, you know, O'Hare, like, tries to get up, Storm hits him with another super kick, Kidman hits with the Kid Crusher, and then Awesome hits the huge Awesome Bomb on the outside. So he's laid out, the heels walk out together, everybody boos, and there you go. So this gets a 70. Then we move out, as basically, you know, Ric Flair comes out, does Ric Flair things, and then suddenly, you know, Chuck Palumbo comes out, but he waits for a second, and then, you know, somebody comes out, and yes, it's the return of Stacy Keibler at Chuck Palumbo's side as his manager. Crowd pops for that, as, you know, it's been, you know, a couple of months while Stacy has been gone in-game filming, so I've said she was on a TV reality show, because that's what she really on in real life eventually, so there you go. I didn't take enough time to look up any reality shows that would have been around in 2003, so find your own, make up your own, think of your own, you know. But this gets a 71, so, you know, big crowd pop is, of course, the whole feud has, you know, been Flair sort of poking fun at Palumbo for Stacy, you know, going out to Hollywood and abandoning him, but look like Stacy's back. So then, in the actual match, and a bout had fantastic heat and great wrestling, Chuck Palumbo defeated Ric Flair in 13:30 by pinfall to Palumbo's pride. So back and forth match, Ric Flair tries to cheat, of course, but in the end, Palumbo just, you know, hits his finisher and wins. This is an 83. Palumbo gets an 87, Ric Flair gets an 81. Not enough selling shown. I mean, it's Ric Flair, I guess, in his 50s at this point, so he's not still in the greatest, and Chuck Palumbo was never the best seller. And yeah, Palumbo and Keibler are a good pairing, which I remember, and the crowd got the match hotter. And yeah, so a quick little backstage note. So originally this was going to be, first Stacy would come out with Flair, and then Stacy would turn on Flair, and this match is sort of, you know, this was just, you know, Stacy suckering him, but, you know, I figured with that already happening with Storm, Kidman, and also doing that twice in one night would be overbooking, so just, you know, straight up, Stacy returns, Palumbo gets the big win, and there you go. So 83, and a big win for Palumbo as he gets, you know, another big win, this time over, you know, the legend of WCW. And then we have, you know, Palumbo and Stacy celebrating, which gets a 73. So next up is Booker and Morningstar. So, you know, this is a, you know, Morningstar had to surrender after getting basically trapped in, like, you know, sort of a choke lock by Booker at Fall Brawl. And this is, you know, sort of a chance for Morningstar to get revenge, for Booker to get a, you know, his even more revenge, you know, because remember, way back in May, you know, the Deadpool helped Vampiro, you know, take that world title off of Booker, and that's sort of been Booker's, you know, sort of, you know, war ever since that, his crusade to take out the Deadpool. You know, he got some measure of revenge at Fall Brawl when he got the win, but now he wants this win versus Morningstar. So, you know, The match is back and forth. Morningstar cheats a little. He high flies a little. Hits his, the best moonsault ever. Booker T comes back with his brawling and, suplexes. But, in the end, we have a rough bump, because of course we do. Looks like Morningstar is going to cheat, and go for some sort of whack him with a chair, but Booker's ready for him. He hits the axe kick on him and drills Morningstar with a chair, and you think that's it, sort of just desserts for the heel, but Booker has sort of this crazy look in his eye, and he continues the beatdown. He hits him again, and the ref is up and calls for the DQ because it's just over because the ref saw him in plain view nailing him with the chair, and there's nothing that can be really done, because Booker T got disqualified after going to attack and rage. Match itself got an 82. Booker got an 78. Morningstar got a 74. And yeah, as you know, they didn't click. So that's in part why I did this finish, and why they haven't had because they've been feuding but haven't been in many matches together as far as singles. So there you go. But still an 82, which isn't a bad match. If people don't click at an 82, I'm perfectly happy with that. And then in the post match, just Booker T continues the beat down, and eventually WC officials come down and pull him off, but at this point, the crowd isn't booing, but they're still more silent. Probably still some cheers because it's still an early 2000s crowd, but sort of the announcers are even going we realize what Deadpool has done to Booker, but this is sort of a little far for what he should do here. But yeah, just Booker went a little crazy here, but you can sort of understand because they world title off him. And they've sort of been screwing with him for basically the start, but, maybe, drilling a guy multiple times with a chair when he's completely defenseless is a little over the line. But regardless, the wrestling goes on as it's time for Air Raid versus Hart Legacy. And this is, just a high-flying, high spots, everybody go crazy match. Jack Evans does a bunch of flips. Teddy Hart does some of a weird moonsault to the outside. AJ Styles hits the Fosbury flop. Reversals, double teams, back and forth. But in the end, in a match that gets an 87, Jesus Christ, that's good. They both had good wrestling, decent reaction from the crowd. The Hart Legacy had air rated 14-18 when Jack Evans pinned AJ Styles with a stunt in 101. I'll be honest, I have no idea what that is, but I'm sure it's some sort of flippy move. And the Hart Legacy win the WCW World Tag Team titles. So this gets an 87, Air Paris gets an 81, AJ Styles gets a 90, Jack Evans gets a 74, Teddy Hart gets a 67. So yeah, just an insanely awesome match, but Evans is able to hit a couple moves in a row, then his finisher, and get the huge victory over Styles. Then post-match, basically there's some tension, but eventually, Hart and Evans are given the tag titles, and there's a handshake, and everybody's happy, because everybody's a good babyface here. So this gets a 69. So, and then next up is our U.S. title match. As, this has been the long feud also during the summer, as, Ray Jr. has been trying to go after the U.S. title, and Shane Helms, of course, has declared himself the greatest U.S. champion of all time. And again, this is just a great match, back and forth, everybody working hard, lots of reversals, Ray Jr. hitting a huge Hurricanrana, Helms hitting his super kick of doom, but Ray Jr. kicking out. Eventually, Shane Helms going for the Vertebreaker, but Ray Jr. getting out of that, hitting a Frankensteiner, but, Ray Jr. getting out of that. More high flying moves, some sort of lots of crazy reversals. But again, Shane Helms hit his super kicks again, but just sort of put a stamp on it. Helms hits the super kick for a second time, and then he drags Helms, drags Ray up to the top rope, goes for a super Vertebreaker, but Ray Jr. gets out of it, slips out of it, and then hits a huge Frankensteiner from the top rope, and then hits the springboard Hurricanrana to win the United States heavyweight title. So this gets an 88, as in they both had superb wrestling and great heat. Rey Mysterio Jr. defeated Shane Helms in 2024 by pinfall the springboard Hurricanrana, and Ray Jr. wins the U.S. title for the second time. This gets an 88. Ray Jr. gets an 87. Shane Helms gets an 84. And I just want to, let's see here, check something. Okay, poor gimmick, very hot crowd. Okay, cool. And then, of course, Ray Jr. Sullivan gets a 74. So next up is one of our, you could go on more of our three main events, as it's Goldberg versus Mesias. And this is just a fight from the start, just big moves, big bombs, suplexes, choke slams, clotheslines, big old, toss him over the rope, big brawl on the outside. But in the end, Goldberg hits a spear, hits jackhammer just like he has before, and this And of course, this time, Lestat runs in and, like, yeah, attacks Goldberg. And, it's an unfortunate ending. Because, it looks like Goldberg had to win, but Lestat runs in and just grills, runs in, goes to, like, second rope, flies off the top, and it looks like they beat down his on. But the match itself gets an 82. Exceptional match, Goldberg gets a 92, Mesias gets a 93. Let me see here. Inconsistency, stamina, selling, psychology, lack of... Okay, I mean, yeah. But regardless, this is just, an insane, that, crowd is really hot. But in the end, but what happens next is, it looks like it's going to be a 2-on-1, but Goldberg is managed to get Lestat first, and he just, like, throws, like, it's basically, like, Lestat, he gets basically lawn darted by Goldberg out of the ring, and he, like, hits the ringside barrier, like, basically, like a lump, and falls, just, like, completely out. And then the brawl's on, but in the end, they're at the stage area, which is all, like, Halloween themed. And at the end, Goldberg, has Mesias, like, hit after, like, Goldberg drills Mesias with, like, one of the gravestones. And then, Mesias is a little wobbly, and Goldberg spears him through, like, what, like, basically, like, the haunted house or something, like, some sort of structure at ringside. And they basically go to the back, go to the backstage area as officials finally run in and stop it. And that post-match brawl gets an 87. And yeah, like I said, Lestat took a stun bump, because he, got killed. So there you go. So it looks like that this feud still isn't over between Goldberg and Mesias, but like, I mean, if you notice, Morningstar, out. Lestat, out. Mesias, out. So Deadpool, they made their presence before in world title matches, but it looks like they won't be able to tonight, which is interesting. And then I want to say, just in a cooldown match, in about the Terror Wrestling, Austin Crowd Key, Gail Kim defeat, Foxx in 950 by pinfall. It says using the wrist for leverage, but she whapped her with the title belt, and she makes defense number 1 of her women's world title. Gail Kim gets a 54, Angel Foxx gets a 53. Honestly, I sort of screwed these girls over because I wanted to, like basically I needed a match to put between, because basically the reality is I had like 4 main events, Goldberg Mesias, Ray Jr. Helms, RVD Kanyon, and the actual main event, the world title match, but there was, like, I knew, like, the crowd would get burnt out, so hopefully by putting this match in and, like, basically have them doing, Calm the Crown, hopefully that'll help things for the final 2 matches. But, still a solid women's match, as Gail Kim gets the win and makes her first defense, and then Gail Kim celebrating gets a 65. So next up is RVD versus Kanyon, and again, this is, back and forth, but it's not like quite the wild high flying as our Ray Jr. Helms or the Wild Golf Goldberg and Mesias. This is just your very, high level United States professional wrestling match. They start, Ray Jr., not Ray Jr., but RVD eventually, hits some kicks. Kanyon comes back with his strikes. They, fight, but, Kanyon with a big suplex. RVD comes back with his, high flying. But in the end, after RVD, what happens basically, RVD, hits the Van Damander, goes up top for the 5-star Brock Splash. Kanyon gets his knees up and is able to quickly turn that, get up, hit a big suplex, and as RVD is still woozy, hits the flatliner, gets the 1, 2, 3. And that is a 93. Really good match. Just an awesome match, actually. As an exceptional match, Kanyon defeated RVD in 21:47 by pinfall the flatliner. RVD had a 94, Kanyon had a 94, 93, and yeah. Like psychology, okay, I mean, it dropped from a 94 to a 93, and let me see here. Let me see if there's anything else. Radiant work, but yeah, lack psychology, but that's it. So now, next up, we've got Eddy Guerrero making his entrance to the cheers of the Houston crowd, which gets an 87. Then we have Vampiro's entrance, with, gets to the boos of the crowd, and that gets an 82. And, this is sort of the coup de grace for Vampiro, as this time there is, there is no Deadpool to interfere. Like I said before, Morningstar probably has a concussion. Mesias was speared to the stage. Lestat died for our sins by taking a huge bump against guardrail. So, Vampiro is still, he's a world champion for a reason. So he hits his kicks, he hits his suplexes, he brawls with Guerrero. But, Eddy has an answer. Eddy hits a huge plancha, hits a big flying drop kick. It hits an aside moonsault. Vampiro comes back with his kicks. Vampiro goes with nail in the coffin, but Eddy gets out of it. Hits a big suplex. Vampiro comes up with kicks again. Hits a DDT. Hits a flying leg drop. It's back and forth. But in the end, Vampiro again. He cheats a little on the outside, wallops Guerrero with the title belt, comes back in, goes for the nail in coffin, but he takes too long to actually hit it, so Eddy is able to lean out of it, slip behind, hits the Blue Thunder Bomb, hit the Three Amigos, and hit the Frog Splash, but Vampiro gets his knees up. Again, Vampiro hits the big kick, goes for the nail in coffin again, but this time Vampiro hits it, but the legs are on the ropes. Vampiro's pissed at the ref. Eddy is able to get up. And Eddy, as a ref, is, yelling at him. Eddy comes from behind, rolls Vampiro up, no dice, but that gives enough time for Eddy to lock him in again. Eddy hits the huge brainbuster. And then Eddy goes up top again, one more time. Frog Splash, 1, 2, 3, new world champion. And yeah, 81. Ooh, okay, wow. Okay, that's interesting. So an exceptional match. Eddy Guerrero defeated Vampiro in 1845 by the Frog Splash. Eddy wins the World Heavyweight title. This gets an 81. Eddy sustains a broken tailbone, because of course he does. That's the kind of look I have. Vampiro gets an 89. Eddy gets a 90. Let's see here. What was the downsides? Disrupted by injury. Okay, crowd getting burnout. Okay, so yeah. I figured as much that, this was just the end. And low morale and inconsistency for Vampiro. So probably without the injury, so I'm going to pretend that what Eddy got injured on, probably the, maybe, yeah, I don't know, maybe the brainbuster or something. But regardless, Eddy has become the world champion. He, came back to WCW. He said he was going to win world champion, and that's exactly what he did. He's, a huge victory for Eddy, and he celebrates. Yep, I know. And then out comes Ray. First out comes Chavo. They celebrate together. And then out comes Ray with the U.S. title. And, Eddy and Ray, look at each other for a moment. Then they hug. And crowd pops for that. And hopefully that goes a lot better than, shall we say, post-match hugs of internet favorites in other versions of reality like ours. But, 80, good stuff. And the show overall itself gets a 84. Okay. So, not our best pay-per-view, I don't think, but still a really good show. If not for the injury to Eddy, and honestly, Vampiro be an SOB with low morale and inconsistent, that probably could have been our best show. So, of course, Eddy. Who else had the great performance? I'm going to give it to Goldberg. And then, yeah, because he had a great match, yeah, to RVD. So, everybody is very happy. So, let's see what happens with the post-show here. I'll go over everybody's overness. I'll do one last sell job for the Mayhem Pick'em tournament, and then we'll go over the developmental territory rosters and title histories, because some people asked for that in the comments of the last show. So as this lines up, I really do think that was a really good show. Again, not our best show, but I actually think it was a really, if I can kiss my own ass a little bit, I think it was a really well booked show. So, okay, John Morrison was signed. Yeah, Eddy Guerrero. Okay, so, yeah, actually, first let's check that. He'll be out of action. Okay, 27 days. Okay, so literally he can't wrestle on TV until the pay-per-view. Okay, plus it's Mayhem. That's not the end of the world. Still, fuck you, Guerrero. Oh, God. So, here's the thing. If I suspend Vampiro, I have to totally redo the tournament. So I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to do is I am going to find the hell out of this motherfucker. Because if you look at his disciplinary, you look. Stern warning, fine him, stern warning. So time to find the guy. And yeah. Anyway. We didn't win the area battle, probably because of our pay-per-view. So, decent pay-per-view buy rate. Yeah. So we go to our top 100s. So Halloween Havoc. yeah, Halloween Havoc isn't even like in the top half of our shows. Havoc, it's basically same as Spring Break Bash, slightly worse than Bash at the Beach. Fall Brawl, yeah, okay. As far as matches though, let's see here. Is there anything from? Yeah, okay. So Kanyon versus RVD, the 93 is our 7th best match, and I think that's going to be the only thing. Let's see here. We had that 87, but I think that gets down to, yeah, that gets down to like, where even is it? Yeah, 87. Okay, so Hart Legacy. Okay, I mean, not again. This was like a really good show, but not like one of our great shows. But on the other hand, if we go to top TV buy rates, so yeah, Havoc still's in this range, and then total viewerships. Let's see here how Havoc does as far as pay-per-views. So Havoc, okay, so even though it's like it's our second like most watched pay-per-view, which is solid. Title wise, Cruiserweight champion is still Jamie Knoble. That's okay, so that's up to a 72. US champion is Ray Jr. That's up to a 75. Women's world title is still Gail Kim. World heavyweight champion, okay, still Eddy. World tag champs are she's just going up, and of course TV champion is Jonathan Torre. So I want to check out a couple of people as far as how their overness went. So first, let's go with Eddy. So it's really unfortunate. I'm really beginning to feel we're hitting a pop cap with him. Like, I really feel we're hitting a pop cap with him, which is really unfortunate. I mean, because he did get to an 86. So that's interesting that he got all the way to an 86. But the fact that he got that high and immediately dropped down, like, that really feels like some sort of pop cap, which would be really unfortunate. So, and again, Vamp, let's see here how he got hurt by that. Vamp dropped a little, but he's still really over. Let's see here. Sean O'Hare, did he get hurt at all because of his loss? Even though he got hurt slightly, but I protected the hell out of him, so he's still really over. Booker T again got hurt. Okay, he actually hurt. That's kind of sucks that he got hurt by that DQ loss. I should have protected him. I should have remembered to do that. Let's see. Listen, people who won last night. Well, Goldberg is still really over, and like, yeah, he's like getting really over. Like, why isn't he the world champion over? Mesias, he dropped a little bit from this, and not really. He dropped. He basically stayed the same. Let's see here. Is there anybody else who we really care about? Check. Oh yeah, Ray. Let's see here. Ray. Okay, not bad. He gained a couple points. And then let's look at Shane Helms. Helms stayed about the same because the match was that good, I guess. Was there anybody else we needed to care about? Oh yeah, Kanyon. Let me see how over. Okay. Kanyon's still really over. RVD dropped a little. Well, he dropped a little bit in some places. And the only other guy I want to check out is Palumbo. Yeah, Palumbo's actually getting like stupidly over as well. Like, so yeah. I mean, I'm kind of really upset. Not really upset, but kind of upset about Eddy being what's the word I'm looking for here? Eddy being like sort of. I really think it's a pop cap. Like, I'm really going to try to get him over the next couple months, and if he like doesn't break in the 90s like other people have, I'll be really hurt by that. Creative wise, Goldberg, RVD, Eddy, Ray Jr., Kanyon. Sort of who do you expect? And who's hot is Kidman, Ray, Kanyon, Goldberg, Van Dam. Again, who do you expect? And one more time, let me shill this 2003 Mayhem Tournament Pick'em. Again, it'll be open till the first Nitro of November is posted, which is likely going to be Wednesday, because what I'm going to do Monday is basically a Mayhem Tournament Pick'em preview going over the whole bracket, and honestly just give people more days to sign up. But again, we've had some more signups, so I'm happy about that. But again, the prizes are, if you get first place, you get to book a match on the January pay-per-view, set up your, bring up somebody from Dev, have a dev signing, do a push and D-push. Again, like for second place, you get to get a title match of your choice. You book who wins, but you book a title match of your choice. Do a dev signing. For of course, first place gets to bring up somebody from dev. And the third place also gets some other prizes. Again, all the prizes and everything is listed in the post here or on Reddit. Go over those. Again, go ahead and sign up. Sign either with your email, or if you don't want to, give out your email, sign up with the throwaway and just put some sort of Reddit username, Discord username, something so I can contact you in case you win. But yeah, that was my last shield out for that. So we have one more thing to go over, so that'll be that. So now, the last thing is people wanted to look at my developmental title history, and honestly, I think what they really wanted was look at my developmental roster. So what I'll do is I'll go over the developmental roster, then I'll go over the title history, and that'll be that. So, our developmental territory. Okay, so these are all the guys first. So we have Adam Ortiz, who's a regen. He's decent. He's just sort of a random guy. We have Andrew Big, who is 20. He's a brawler. He's 6'3", 271 pounds. He's a decent brawler. He has really good star quality. Again, he's another regen. 76 basics. So he could actually be something. Unfortunately, he's a scumbag, but of course that might be something you might be interested in making me deal with. Chance Prophet is he's a goth guy. He's been on our roster a bit. He's a decent overall guy. He doesn't have much of a star quality. He has okay menace, but no real charisma. Chris Rambola, you might know as better as somebody else. He's actually not that bad. He's getting there. He's sort of like an all-arounder. Again, not that over, but he just nothing's he's actually pretty good psych, but medium microphone and acting. Jamie Tucker's a ref. Johnny Devine, of course, you know him from Team Canada, at least if you watch TNA. He's a pretty decent high flyer. He's a good, basically a good undercard guy. Okay star quality, basically no microphone or charisma. So there we go. Keith Walker, who's a former Harley Race guy. He's just sort of a fighter. He's, again, decent overall type, has okay star quality in the psychology, lots of menace, decent on the basics. But sort of medium tier. Ken Anderson, you know him, you love him. He's Kennedy. He's really new in dev. He has, again, good star quality, good microphone, good charisma, but nothing as far as actually wrestling skill yet. Kenzo Suzuki, of course, you know this guy if you watch SmackDown in the mid-2000s. He actually is, he's still, he doesn't have that much experience. He hasn't doing much. He has good star quality go, but, if you look at his stats, he's not much of a wrestler yet. Killswitch and Rothschild are both two guys also from the Canadian Indies who I signed as a tag team, and now they never really tag, and they're just sort of meh. Rothschild actually has decent menace, as does, but Killswitch is sort of a nothing. Am I Smooth is, of course, the former Ice Train. He's just here until his contract runs out. Marcus Militek is another regen. He's a brawler. He has 6'3", 284 pounds. He actually has lots of menace. No star quality, no sex appeal, which means it's really change his picture, and not that good in ring except for brawling. Marco Pony is the former Muhammad Hassan. And I just recently signed him, and he's not much of anything yet. Monty Brown is, of course, our guy. He's featured, what is it, King of the Serengeti or whatever it was. He's actually, really solid in the ring, good psychology, lots of charisma, lots of star quality, lots of menace, etc. Prince Nana, of course, from Ring of Honor. He's actually a decent wrestler. Of course, he has lots more, microphone and charisma. Well, not really a lot more, but he's decent at those. He's also decently flashy and getting kind of over. And he could do some stuff, especially on the undercard and in the Cruiserweight division. Ray Gordy, son of Terry Gordy, Cruiserweight guy, getting kind of over. Brawler, Brawler has decent psych. Some star quality, not a ton, and yeah, pretty mediocre as opposed to that. Ray LePan, who you might know better later as Adam Rose. He's actually pretty decent. He has good psychology. He's getting up there as far as skills, though. Star quality and sex appeal sort of meh, but he's good at the basics. Has decent experience. Has okay charisma. So there you go. Ricky Steamboat's our unofficial trainer. Both Ballard brothers, they're a tag team. They're meh. They'll probably be down here until I get tired of them. Then we have Sterling James Keenan, who of course is the future Corey Graves. He's, let's see here, let's look at his stats. He's actually good in aerial. He has good psychology. Flashiness, not so much. Other in-ring stuff is okay. He's actually really good on the mic. Has some star quality. He has decent star quality and some sex appeal. Tank Tolan, of course, feature member of the Dicks. And he had an RH room, didn't he? Yeah. Yeah, he was like one of those people who, he was one of the first wave of, oh, this guy's being so unused by WWE. Then he got out and people realized, oh, he's like totally mediocre. But yeah. And yeah, he has like mediocre stats. He's good technical wrestler, but that's about it. Tony Jones, probably most famous for being, Jim Ross telling him he needed to develop a better body and be on the mat. He's a former West Coast indie guy, wrestled Christopher Daniels and Michael Modest a lot, and he's totally like just okay in the ring. Tony Kozina, high flyer, decent high flyer, decently flashy, not much star quality, but okay. Trevor Rhodes, of course, future tag partner of Lance Cade. Okay brawler, everything else in the ring. Decent charisma and microphone, okay star quality, no sex appeal, which I think is just hilarious, and pretty good menace. And Rouse Shroud, who I already went over. So yeah. So there's your choices as far as the men, for the men's roster. And for the women, we've got Allison Danger, who of course is Steve Corino's sister. She's good in the ring, decent in the ring, good charisma, good microphone, okay star quality. We have Annie Social, who's probably best known she's best known for appearing in the Naked Women's Wrestling League, which, okay. But she's actually, and part of this is wrestling a lot on in my women's developmental territory, is she's been actually turned into a decent little wrestler, who is, like, has some sex appeal, has some star quality, not great microphone or charisma, but, can't have everything. Becky Bayless is, of course, Becky Bayless, future ROH interviewer girl, and she's she's really just developing right now. She has lots of sex appeal, good star quality, but not a lot of charisma or microphone yet. Bonnie Maxon, future member of the Minnesota Home Wrecking Crew alongside Lacey, also known as Rain. She's a decent wrestler, has some star quality, has lots of actually pretty decent charisma, and yeah, so there we go. Cheerleader Melissa, future Alyssa Flash, and I think it was Raheem Keen in TNA, and now posts some interesting pictures on Instagram, but we're putting that aside. She's a good wrestler, has lots of flashiness, really good psych, lots of psychology, good sex appeal, some decent charisma, decent in acting, so there we go. Cindy Rogers she's a Shimmer girl. She's another person who's a real really having to build up her skills on the undercard, as you can see. Katarina Waters was the future quote unquote sister of Paul Burchill in WCW. Katie Lee, Winner, I think was her name. No, that was I think her name was Winner in TNA or not. Anyway, regardless, she's actually a good brawler, good technical, has some psychology, lots of microphone, lots of acting, star quality, sex appeal, yeah, good stuff. Kim Nielsen, so yeah, Nelson is better known as Desire in TNA, if you remember her run. Also most well known for eventually marrying Sonny Siaki and appearing on The Biggest Loser in more recent times. But now, for right now, she has some brawling, some weird higher amounts of Puresu, okay, some decent technical scores, pretty good psychology, and mediocre everything else. Lacey is Lacey. She has some good technical skills, some good psych, but not much else. Madison Sinclair is honestly just a random women's wrestler I found. She's, again, doesn't have that much skills yet. She's just, building up her skills in the developmental territory. Lee Hosaka is down here as a trainer. Miss Molly is another like random woman I found. She's she doesn't have much skills yet. She has some sex appeal, but not much star quality or charisma or microphone skills. Mischief is, of course, something you might know if you know women's wrestling from this time period. Longtime Shimmer Girl. But yeah, good brawler. Decent, decent tech psychology, some star quality. That sex appeal is off, but, whatever. And okay microphone and acting. Misty was Billy Kidman's former manager, but then they had bad chemistry in this version of the game, so I sent her down to work on her skills. And yeah, she's basically just down here to get better, and she actually is getting better at charisma and microphone, but yeah. Now, United Heart, of course, is also the Hart Legacy's manager, but she's also down here working. She's getting pretty decent. Remember, this is her only 2 years in, but she has good charisma, decent microphone. Of course, lots of star quality, lots of sex appeal. But yeah, she's just getting better. Nikki rocks. Future, in real life TNA member, and she's actually becoming a solid worker in here. Decent brawler, decent aerial, lots of flashiness, lots of psychology. Mediocre charisma and microphone. Roni Jonah. Yeah, so Jonah's just sort of like another indie wrestler. I basically signed just because her picture with the guitar looked cool, and I gave her the rockstar gimmick. She actually has pretty good charisma and microphone skills, but she's sort of getting started from everything else. Tracy Brooks, Tracy Brooks is future wife of Frankie Kazarian, and yeah, she actually is pretty charismatic. Microphone, has some star quality, but is not good at all in the ring yet. So there we go. Vanessa Harding is again another random wrestler worker I found. She's slowly getting better, but she doesn't have much skill yet. Has some charisma, so that's good. And then Wasina Busek is a she's a Croatian wrestler who used to wrestle in Europe, I guess. And she's really good in the ring, 74 technical, 75 brawling, mid-70s pure Sue, 77 psych, okay charisma, good star quality, no microphone, but she's not terrible, but really good low skills. And yeah, there you go. And those are our women's roster. So now let's go over the title histories. So if we go over to developmental, that's not what I want. We want child companies. So first, AWQ, which is our women's fed. I'll go over the titles here. So we have the AWQ Tag Team Championship. So going way back at the beginning, it was originally Roni Jonah and Angel Williams from September of 2001 to September of 2001, which title got vacant, I think, because I forgot how the conversion screwed up. So they were champions from September 2001 to April of 2002, which, is a long title reign, and they basically lost the titles, I think, because I accidentally brought up Angel up for a job, and that made them drop the titles. But anyway, then Gail Kim and Kim Nielsen won the titles in April 2002. They held the belts until July 2002. And then in July 2002, Cheerleader Melissa and Angel Williams won the belts, and they held them to September. And then Katarina Waters and Amber O'Neil won the belts in September, and they held them till December. And then title belts were vacant again when I brought up Amber up to the main roster. That was on purpose. And then from September, from December 2002 to the next week, the titles were vacant. Titles then went to Roni Jonah and Miss Molly, who won them in week 2 of December 2002, and held them until week 1, January 2003 for 2 defenses. And then Bonnie Max and Shirley Melissa won them in January, and held the titles till July for 10 defenses. And then since Kim Nielsen and Lacey have the titles, so we look at the defenses. So yeah, sort of the big matches is, so Bonnie Max and Melissa held the titles. Then Anti-Authority, which is the, what's the word I'm looking for here? Anti-Authority, who, are Kim Nielsen and Lacey, defeated Max and Shirley Melissa for the tag titles, and then they've been defending him ever since then. Then our Queen of the Ring title, which I accidentally made monthly. I'll have to go in and fix that eventually. But yeah, so I took that off, and I'll just have to reactivate it when it's... Oh, I forgot. It was... I am a dumb. Okay, I'll have to do that for this month. Anyway, regardless. So, first time, it was won by Alexis Lurie, then it was won by Angel Williams, and then I'll do it this month and see who wins at that time. And now, finally, our championship. So, our first champion was the first Alexis Lurie, who held the title from August till November of 01. And then Angel Williams held it from November to February. Access won it back, held it from February to April. Angel won it from April to July. Angel Neal held it from July to September. Then Angel Williams held it from September to December. Understand why I brought these girls up to the main roster. Then Allison Danger held the title from December to April, and since then it's been on catering to Wanderers. And if you look at actual title defenses, her main title defenses has been basically been Melissa and Maxon, some Kim Nielsen now that she's getting more over, and like a 4 corners match. So that's AWQ. And then if we go over to NWA Wildside, if we go to their titles, and remember, there are still people on the Wildside roster who aren't like part of the developmental territory. But also I'll show the NWA tag NWA titles because of course our people get involved in that. But if we go over to the big ones, first the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship. Since this changes a lot, I'll just go with the more recent history. So let's see here. Okay, yeah. So after it was vacated, Ray Gordy won the title in August. He held it till September. Teddy Hart won it. He held it from September till November. Then Ray Lipin won it. He held the title till December. Onyx won it. He held it for 6 months until he dropped it to Jimmy Rave. Held it for about 4 months until Prince Nana won the title. And if you look at Nana's recent defenses, he's been fighting people like Ray Lipin, Adams Jacobs, and Onyx for the title to keep the title. Then we have Wildside Tag Team titles, is sort of the weirdest tag title. So first we had, and actually I can go over the whole history of this one. So first was Keith Cole and Ken Cole, who held the titles till December. Then Tony Stratton and Todd Sexton, who of course are Wildside people, held the titles till June. Then Chris Rambola and Onyx held the titles from June of 2002 till September. Then Prince Nana and Cassidy O'Reilly held the titles from September to August, so basically a year. And then Sexton and Stratton won the titles back. And and I'll show you guys the tag teams. Tag teams that have been created. Let's see here. We've got Double Top, which Shane Ballard and Kill Switch. We have Prince Nana and Cassidy O'Reilly, which is a team. Pure Hatred, which is Shane Ballard and Wrathchild. Rage Inc., which is Tank Tolan and Ken Anderson. Shining Examples, which is Keith Walker and Johnny Devine. And Cole Brothers, Scooby Gang, which is Monty Brown and Lazarus, which is hilarious. TNT, which is the team we just looked at, and Trevor Rhodes and Stone Mountain. So then we got one more title here in the NWA Wildside, which is the Wildside Heavyweight Champion. So, okay, I'll go back. So the title was on Gigante's till I brought him up. So then it was from Teddy Hart from April till July. Then Jimmy Ray from July to September. Jack Evans from September to December. Homicide from December to April. And the only reason I don't have Homicide on the roster is he got signed by WWE. Then so since April, Shirley James Keenan, also known as Corey Graves, has been the champion, and he's been facing people like Prince Nana, Otis, Jason Cross, Ray Gordy, etc. So then, if we go to if we go to their titles. So, first, the National Heavyweight title, Paul London held it from July to October of 2002. North American Heavyweight title is more interesting because after basically Tetsuya Takakwa had his second long run from June to November, Prince Nana held the title from November till July of 2003, and then Ray Lipin won it, and he's held it since then, and he's defended against people like Chad Tatum, John Phoenix, Magic, Chino Martinez, other random people. NBA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, so it's had a weird history. So it went from Blitzkrieg, who won it in December of 2001, to Steve Corino, of all people, to Kent Cole, of all people, to Todd Sexton. So then originally Prince Nana held it from July to October, and since it's been with Hiroshima. Let's see here. Yeah, then World Tag Team Champions. So it's been basically a Wildside only belt. So Adam Jacobs and John Phoenix held it from May 2001 to July 2001. Then Hidaka and Takano held it for basically a year. Then Keith Cole held the titles for about 6 months. Then Keith Walker and Johnny Devine won the titles in January, held them until May. And then Jeremy Lopez and Prince Nana won the titles back in May. And they've been defending against basically only in Wildside, aside from a random 0-1 shot. And now for the big one, the NWA World title. So Steve Corino won the title in April 2001. He held it till June when Yusaka Yatsu won it. He held the title till January of 2002. When Jimmy Rave won it, Rave held the title till February Then Monty Brown had his first NWA world title reign. He held the title until July. Adam Jacobs held the title for basically a couple months. Monty Brown won the titles in May again, and then William Jason Massengale held the title from May 2003 till October 2003 till Spider won it. And I honestly, I don't know who Spider is. Can I click on him? Yeah, Spider is a random guy. This is, look at how unover this guy is. This is like the most random NWA World Title reign ever, and that's even including the real wacky ones in real life. But anyway, I hope this helped people who are about to do their predictions or have done their predictions, looking at people they want to brought up, or just if you enjoyed looking at what the AI has done with my wacky people in developmental and just my roster in general. But let's see if there's any other mail. I totally forgot to look at that. Yeah, nothing much of interest there. So, aside from John Gennigan and 01 signing a random guy. But yeah, that's really it. Again, if you watch this, thank you for watching. Go ahead and give this a like if you liked it. Comment below what you're enjoying and not enjoying. And subscribe to for lots of TEW 2020 content like this. My WCW 1993 series, the Bear Bischoff. My MLW series, now in 2005. And lots more. But that's all for now, so I'll talk to you later, and adios.